So I want to look at it and ask the question, like, how can you be successful with a smaller analytics team? Because the typical management response to deliver more work is, aside from just push your people harder to get more work out of them, is to hire, is to grow the team. We need more people in order to get this work done. We need to hire. Um, you know, that's not happening here. So you have teams that need to perform at a high level as a smaller team without burning out.
Yeah.
So, how can you do that? Like, is it possible? Like, we'll just
Oh,
start
yeah.
off with, like, just a blunt question, like, is it possible to do?
It's absolutely possible. Um, but I think it requires long term thinking and vision, and requires a high enough executive leadership to provide the team the time needed to build a proper foundation in which they can be successful. And I think there are a couple components, maybe three components, so a few components here that are critical. Number one, and this was kind of a big topic that we've talked about a lot this year, and that's the concept of sustainability. I think analytics teams have to think about sustainability if they want to be successful, especially as a smaller team. If we're not thinking sustainably about our analytics implementation, our data capture, our reporting frameworks, you know what's going to happen, right? We already see it happening. We have these small teams that are already overwhelmed, and where do they spend the bulk of their time? Fixes, data quality issues. There's literally no time to do anything that is seen as proactive or valuable to the business because they're literally spending probably more than a full time job, just trying to keep this thing from crumbling and falling down. And so I think, we've long talked about laying the right foundation and getting your house in order, but this is really one of those times where if you're really trying to build, especially at a small size, a highly functional, highly successful analytics team, if you don't have your house stable and in order, you're not going to be successful. Definitely not over the long run. So that's number one. We have to think sustainably about our foundation and our analytics kind of framing. And once we've got that done, then I think we really do have some opportunities to be incredibly successful. And they're twofold. So once we have that foundation in place, two is we need to be incredibly proactive and have an intense curiosity around the business that we support and the specific teams we're supporting, whether that's product or UX or marketing or whatever teams that we're supporting with insights and data. We need to be proactive in learning as much as we can about what those teams are doing, the customers they're serving, both internally and externally, in order to use the data that we have to provide them insights that they don't have the ability to necessarily see on their own, whether that's lack of skills, lack of time. But ultimately, that's our role. Our role is to proactively provide insights and intelligence to other teams so they can do what they do best. It makes no sense to have a marketer spend 50% of their time doing analysis. We hired them to do marketing. Analysis and insights is a critical part of their job, but it should be fed into them primarily. So that's really, I think, the biggest needle that we can shift is being proactive in learning about the business and the teams that we support and proactively using data to provide insight and intelligence to those teams. I would say the third thing is there's always going to be a component of others using the data. We should reject the idea of hoarding data. And I'm going to stop short of calling it self-service, but we need to also focus our time on training and mentoring to raise the overall data literacy level in our organizations. So, not necessarily saying, hey, every time you have a question, go to this dashboard and answer your own questions. I think that's a failing strategy in most situations. We shouldn't be asking, again, marketers to be doing really deep analysis, even if they have the ability to self-serve or even run complex reporting. I think there is a self-service component of basic reports and dashboarding that they should just go and things that I can look up that are kind of known things, I should self-service that. But everything else, I think, should come from experienced analysts. However, from my experience, there's been a lot of time waste and lost and lack of efficiency because of low levels of understanding the data. And so if we can spend time not necessarily building self-service models, but raising the overall intelligence level when it comes to data of teams within our organizations, they can be a much stronger partner with us as they're looking at data, analyzing the results that we're providing them. I think that can go a long way in helping us be more efficient as a small team.